Welcome to Secret Shaman, and we're going to be talking about how Venus in Gemini manifests. Venus in Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury, the planet of communication, writing, speech, discovery, and duality. Venus in Gemini is curious and an intellectual lover. Many of the artists with this position were writers. Now, Gemini covers a lot of themes. It essentially is an energy of youthful learning and curiosity, but it was so interesting to me to see the twin theme emerge frequently, sometimes as balancing polarities. And you will see this with the examples that I'm sharing. Venus in Gemini loves ideas, learning, intellectual pursuits, travel, the media, and bright conversation. Mental stimulation is essential for these natives who can be easily bored. Gemini is versatile, social, witty, flirtatious, youthful, and loves variety and new things to investigate. This is not the most emotional sign, but their verbal gifts and natural sociability can be irresistible. It is not uncommon for Venus in Gemini performers to choose a partner as an alter ego to act with, often becoming a popular duo, such as Bing Crosby and Bob Hope, Sonny and Cher, or Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. Venus in Gemini can be very auspicious for money luck, and it is one of the signs of the information highway. The shadow nature can be fickleness or rapid changeability. Elon Musk is a perfect example, as he is a media mogul known for his varied interests and successful businesses in communication, technology, modern inventions, robotics, artificial intelligence, and social media. Bob Dylan, a singer-songwriter and a voice of his generation, was well known for his soulful lyrics and poetry, and was the first musician and songwriter to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. William Shakespeare is known as a great dramatist and one of the most influential writers in the history of the English language. He originated hundreds of words and phrases that English speakers still use to this day. And who can forget his beautiful story about Romeo and Juliet? Cat Stevens was a successful British singer-songwriter and musician who wrote over 40 wonderful songs and who eventually converted to Islam. John and Jackie Kennedy were both known for their writing skills. Jackie was a writer, editor, and socialite, hostess to the White House, a traveling ambassador, and polyglot, meaning she could speak several languages. And Jack wrote his best-selling book, Profiles in Courage, before his election to the presidency. John was the youngest president to be elected and a charming, cool, convincing politician and advocate for peace and equal rights. He won the hearts of Americans with the first televised presidential debate. Frida Kahlo tried to use her art to reconcile the dualities she saw in her world and was inspired by her country's popular culture expressed through a personal lens. She worked closely with others as a college student, stenographer, and was a paid engraving apprentice while she was in college. She kept abreast of local news and tried to reconcile the polarities of the wealthy with the peasant class through her politics, which influenced her painting. Always very interested in her immediate surroundings, her artwork was often of herself, her sisters, and her school friends. One of her most famous paintings, The Two Fridas, is the image of twins. Diego was also included in her paintings as her soulmate, her animas, and I would call the two of them twin flames. So when we look at her chart, her Venus is in the 10th house. This is the professional artist. Square Saturn, meaning she had to struggle to develop her art. Conjunct Pluto, which brings up all the pain and suffering that you see frequently in her paintings. Gustav Klimt was a gifted painter who loved mythology, and his painting The Kiss is reminiscent of the twins, the Jungian anima and animus, with another version to the left with the Tree of Life, suggesting the original soulmate twin story of Adam and Eve. Albrecht Durer was a master artist, engraver, and writer. He wrote a book on mathematics, arguably one of the greatest Renaissance German artists of his day. He apprenticed with a local painter whose workshop produced woodcut illustrations for major book publications. His detailed work showed technical mastery in texture, surface, and shading, and he transformed printmaking into an art form equal to that of painting and sculpture. He was especially famous for his Adam and Eve, you see in the lower right-hand corner, and he also explored themes of polarity and balance. On the left, you see St. Jerome in his study, translating the Bible into Latin, a typical Gemini theme. And in the foreground, we have a wild lion with a domestic dog. And on the right, you see the strength of life in the form of a knight confronting death on a pale horse. Maxfield Parrish was a very successful American painter and illustrator, known for his intense hues and classical imagery. He was another Venus in Gemini artist who just loved those twin images. So the last artist we're going to look at is Ingmar Bergman, who's called one of the greatest directors of all time. He was a Swedish screenwriter and filmmaker, and he explored difficult themes revolving around death, paradise, faith, relationships, truth, and the superficiality of life. He fearlessly explored the many dualities in life, attempting to reconcile their complexities. You see in the upper left an image of a knight playing chess with the image of death, similar to Durer's etching. So this is a poster also for one of his movies, Face to Face. You see Liv Ullmann here with an image of the twins, and also a black and white candle for Cries and Whispers. Along with Fanny and Alexander, those were films about sister relationships. Again, a typical Gemini theme. So I've included an extra list here of Venus in Gemini for your review. And if you have Venus in Gemini, please comment below so we can all learn more about this wonderful sign. And thank you for watching.